Hello and welcome to Piano 2. We're going to be doing our review piece. This is on page 14 of your book. The title of the piece is called Allegro moderato, and it means like a medium fast. It's a happy little piece in the key of G major, so the scale we'll be using has F sharp. And in terms of harmony, we're going to have predominantly the one chord, the G major, G, B, D, and also the 5/7, which is F sharp, C, D. Yeah, the piece is in binary form or A-B form, so it doesn't have a part that returns. So it just starts with A section and it repeats, and then has a B section. So it's a simple binary form. Okay, before we start talking about it, let me play it for you once. So it's about like 100, maybe like around 101 or 120. It says 96 to 124 per quarter note, beats per minute with the metronome. For you, just set it to however you feel comfortable. So don't think that you have to play it fast right away. Okay, here we go. Ready and then repeating, maybe slightly different. This is the B section. Okay, so that's how the piece goes. Now let's take a closer look. So if you look at the A section, notice where the slurs are. So from measure 1 to 4, there's a slur connecting it. So it means that's a unit of some sort, and there's also another hint that you're going to be crescendoing through measure 2 and then diminuendoing in measure 3, right? And just wanted to give you a tip that at the end of the slur, the note should most likely 99.9% of the time should be tapered off and end a little softer. Just like in speech, we usually don't accent or make the last word of the sentences really loud. So, for example, I'm not gonna be like, "How are you?" I'll be like, "How are you?" Right? Or like, "How are you today?" Like, it's silly to talk that way. So why would you play piano that way? A lot of things that we do in music simulates what we do in life. So let's take a look at the first phrase that goes from measure 1 to downbeat of measure 4. And left hand's going to be using, as mentioned in the intro, the one chord, G, B, D, and then F sharp, C, D. Notice how I kind of turn my wrist a little bit this way, and this allows the piano or the keyboard to have a nicer sound rather than just going directly in. Do you hear the difference in sound? How it gets a little harsh? So let's do it at a much slower tempo, and we're just gonna find the contour of the right hand line, as in follow it. We're gonna crescendo as it goes up in the scale, and it uses the G major scale, and then just diminuendo on the way down. Okay, 1, 2, right hand 3 on B, 1, 2. Now scale. Going up, D, left hand to support, and it's the last note of the slur, and soft. And then you'll notice that the second phrase is pretty much like the first, except there's a two-note pickup, G, A, B. And since it's a big pickup, you probably don't want to be stomping on that G, so start soft and crescendo to the downbeat, upbeat. Okay, so we're gonna start from the very beginning again. 1, 2, ready, go, beat 2. Crescendo up with the scale, diminuendo, and soft taper off, pick up. Pretty much the same thing as the beginning. 1, measure 8. And the whole thing repeats. So, even though it says mezzo piano and piano for the A section in the book, when it's repeating, you probably don't want it to be the same. So, I might do something like the second time, it's going to be forte for the first phrase, and then from measure 5 to the end, make it even less. So something of a contrast, because otherwise, why are we repeating, right? So let's play the entire A section with the repeat at about the speed, so not too fast. 1, 2, ready, go. B2, crescendo, and diminuendo. Support your fingertips. Quiet. Pick up. Crescendo up. Diminuendo. Rest. And then maybe louder because it's repeating. But still follow the same shape of diminuendo and quiet. And then maybe extra soft. And quiet, rest. So whenever I release, I use my wrist because pianists are always breathing with the wrist. Every music requires breathing. Yeah. Let's take a look at the B section. It's a good kind of review of intervals. So before you start to read, it's good to make notes about kind of what's going on in the piece. So if you look at measure 9, in the left hand, we have fourth for 2 measures. In the form of 8th notes going 4, 1, 4, 1, 5, and then 5th, right? And the next interval you see in measure 10 is 2nd, and then going to 3rd. And then 4th again, and then 5. This is measure 11. And in measure 12, we have 2nd, 3rd. Okay, so let's just play the left hand once. And out of all the notes that you're going to play in the left hand, the B section, what do you think is the least important note? Let's think about it. The least important note is D because D is repeated the most often. Whatever note we hear the most usually ends up being the least important, as in you play it softer. And of course, it is still important, but you don't play it as loudly. Okay, so starting from measure 9 to the first ending. 1, 2, ready, go. 4, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4th. And rest, 2nd, 3rd, repeating. 4th, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then now skip the first ending, go to the second ending. 5, 7, and then 1. So the 5, 7 chord, we'll use 5, 2, 1, and then 5, 3, 1 for the 1 chord. Okay. One thing to notice is that I'm playing legato in the left hand, as in everything is connecting nicely. One of the typical mistakes I usually see in students for this piece is, there's like kind of they make 2-note slurs when it doesn't exist. And another challenge is right hand playing staccato and then left hand playing legato, because you're supposed to do staccato for these, right? But one way to solve that dilemma is, because we have difficulty doing 2 different things at once, right, is just think legato in the right hand too. You know why? Because right hand, for the repeated notes cannot connect anyway. So, if you practice thinking legato first and then separate, it might be easier after you coordinate. So let's play the B section, and I'm gonna just think legato in the right hand. 1, 2, ready, go. C, B, A, listen to it. I'm gonna simplify the left hand. It's got kind of a statement quality, and then you have like a question, and then back to the first one, except with a little variation. So I might make measure 10 a little louder than measure 9, and even though it doesn't say anything, and then measure 11 a little softer. So even if the composer doesn't write crescendo or diminuendo, we like to kind of vary the dynamic a little bit so that it's not flat, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna play it as written, and feel free to practice slowly. 1, 2, ready, go. Now louder, back to a little softer. Third, pick up. Second time, it says piano on repeat, so quiet. And second ending has ritardando. Okay, I hope you enjoy playing this little piece.